Hello and welcome to number 59 of The Inner Lenses. Again, brought to you from Portsonican Hotel. Rooms are available. And we have our previous conversationists. We've got Brett, Gabby, Dan. Is it all right to call you Dan? And Erika. Hello, everyone. And this episode is kind of probably going to go somewhere to do with family dynamics, but August the 12th happens to be National Middle Child Day. One can only assume that there are days for other children, first, last, 10th, however many. But for some reason, August the 12th is National Middle Child Day, and we have worked out where we are. Dear listener, just the one of you, what number child are you? Do you have siblings? So I'm the final one. I think there's something that goes, the rules were invented for the first child, reinforced to the second, and the last child is there just to break them all. I don't know if there's truth to that. I have been a rebellious child. It's true. I'm also a bit of a rebellious adult. So around the room, what child number are you and how has it impacted you?
I'm the youngest out of only two, though. And I just sent my sister a little message yesterday because a meme that I saw that said, shout out to the oldest of the family because they were the guinea pigs who took one for the team and got the parents, to do their thing so that the youngest can just kind of skate through life. So I'm the baby of the family.
I am the oldest of the three, and I must say this is an area that I have not investigated too much. So I'm really curious about this conversation, and
Cool.
I do know I am the only oldest one here, right? So I'll take care of you guys. Don't worry.
Just in line with your role of the family. Very well done.
I'm officially the middle child. I have two sisters, so I do have it, and I don't understand what it's all about. I don't get it. What is the middle child syndrome, or the thing that we have? What is the privilege?
Well,
yeah.
Hopefully we get to it. Gabby, where do you stand in your family?
We are only two, and I'm also the youngest.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. So let me start this conversation off because I'm the fan of the National Day of stuff that goes on, and because it was Middle Child Day, I was like, this could get fun, this conversation. So it says, many believe birth order plays a pivotal role in the personalities of children. For example, the middle child syndrome describes the firstborn as the leader and the role player. Meanwhile, the youngest one earns the title of the baby of the family. Therefore, the middle child's role remains undefined. This became a holiday in the 1980s. It says the history of it. A woman named Elizabeth Walker created this day because she just felt like those that were born in the middle of the family were left out, which I find so interesting that we have a whole day to celebrate all these middle children while the rest of us are left to just whatever. Like, we don't matter at all. Oldest, youngest, doesn't matter.
Finally leaving you guys out. That's it. That's what it is. That's why I didn't get it.
It says birth order. This is what it says. This is the interesting part of it. Birth order may also contribute to the big 5 personality traits. Okay. It says we have extroversion, neuroticism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness to experience. One personality study also claims that middle children tend to be artistic and creative. No matter what the personality tests say, the day directs us to focus on the middle child. The day directs parents and siblings to pull out all the stops and make your middle-born family members feel special. I wish your sisters were here for this conversation, Brett. I seriously do. This would be really, really interesting. So, yeah.
They'd have a ball with it. They definitely would.
I've heard about middle child syndrome, right? I don't know it. I don't get it. I'm the baby. But I've heard that it's sort of just like they go unnoticed, right? Because usually you have the oldest that's causing the chaos, right? In stereotypically speaking. The oldest is testing it out. They're the guinea pigs. They're breaking the rules. They don't know. They're testing the parents out. Or they're the leaders and the caretakers, like they take care of their sibling. The babies sort of get away with whatever, skating by. They get special treatment usually because they're the baby. The middle kid, nobody's paying attention to. You know, we're all familiar with the Brady Bunch, are we? Right? The Brady Bunch. We know that show. No? Okay. So it was a show in the 70s, 80s that was like a blended family. So the mom had 3 daughters, the husband had 3 sons, and they blended. So there were 6 kids. And there's a skit about it in the daughters. The middle kid was Jan, and she did a skit like Marsha, 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 because that was her older sister's name. Like everything was about her. And it's a thing. Like there is a thing about it in general culture that the middle children are left out. They're not considered. Nobody pays attention to them. And I don't know. I mean, we have one middle child here, so let's hear it. Do you feel left out?
I don't know if I feel left out. No, I don't think I feel left out. I think I don't know. It's interesting to try and think about it now, right? So I don't think I was left out. My sisters will claim, "Oh, baby boy," because I'm the only boy, right? So there's always something, and they have a perception. So I think we all have a perception of our childhood and who's what, and they all have a different perception because maybe the light's not on us, or you know what I mean, and they're thinking like, "Oh, look, the light's on." I don't know. There's 3 of us, and we all have a different perception as to how things went and what happened. Right? Some things are spot on, and we can all agree on. Right? But then there's other stuff like, no, that wasn't like that. Oh, well, that's what I thought it was. And then, no, that ain't like that, and a lot of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Do I feel left out?
Well, while you're thinking about that, I'm curious what Alec and Daniel both think, because they come from a family of 3 siblings, right? Gabby and I come from 2, so we don't have a middle one. So you guys, one the baby and one the older, thinking of your middle sibling, like, did they ever complain or show signs that they felt like they were being ignored or left out or not sure where they fit in? I don't know.
I think it's really interesting that Brett, as our only middle sibling, has a completely different dynamic anyway. And I think that thing about being the boy amongst girls probably really impacts that. And so, I mean, I've got no illusion that the inner lenses is anything like a scientific research, but I suspect we would find that Brett as the middle is very different to other people's middle. I am the youngest of 3 boys, and my mum had 3 boys under 4 years old when she was just in her like mid-20s. So you can imagine. And frankly, our home was chaos. I suspect my middle brother did feel either always in the shadow of the eldest one. I suspect in a kind of unhealthy way that my eldest brother was given a lot of responsibility that he wouldn't normally have had because, you know, there was no father figure at home. And I think he was kind of expected to model for us. But we were so close in age that we weren't learning from his mistakes that he'd gone past. We were part of the carnage of his mistakes. I think maybe I was a little bit protected as the young one, and my middle brother didn't get any of that. So it's just a hunch, but I would say, yeah, he probably does feel like he was invisible. Daniel?
Yeah, well, I don't have very much data on this because I've only lived one life, and I don't know if I don't I don't know how much there is true to this middle child description that Erika shared with us, but there is certainly the dynamics that are being shared in this chat. They certainly do hit home with me, but just not in the order of the middle child being like so and the older child being like so. In my instance, I was keeping everything. I was playing that role of keeping everything down. I would put myself aside. But interesting who it was you mentioned about the middle child being a bit more outspoken. My sister, the middle child, was definitely a lot more what I would have called back then whiny, or being overly emotional. And actually, she was just expressing what I was feeling. And it's funny because if somebody gets quite whiny now, it does something to me. It can wind me up if I'm in a bad mood. So yeah, the dynamics, difficult to really say if it's a middle child thing, because my sister was the only girl, so she had a certain relationship with my mum. I mean, there's so many variables. It's really very difficult to pin down with just one set of data here. My brother, the youngest, was the scapegoat. He was the one who was like, okay, this is a hellhole what we're living in here. This is chaos, and I'm going to rebel. And he was the scapegoat, which is sad because everybody takes that out on him, including myself, or did.
This is so interesting to me because what you described as your sister, being whiny is what I would think is middle child syndrome, right? It's those types of reactions, the whiny, the being overly emotional because they're not getting attention or they're not getting what they want kind of thing, which is what I think, I don't know what middle child syndrome is summed up to be, right? The one that is always whiny about something. But this is leading me to really dive deeper into all the labels, right? Like we got middle child syndrome, but we have examples here where an actual middle child can't relate to what this feeling left out kind of thing is. And then we have different roles in the family. We have oldest, we have babies, we have all different types. And the babies of the family sometimes get the label of being spoiled brat, right? Like getting away with murder kind of thing. The oldest being neurotic and having to take care. But if we dissected each one of our dynamics, different. It could change. It depends on gender too, right? When you have all boys, it's a different dynamic. When you have a middle boy to two older, one of each girl, it's different. And you hear Daniel has a middle girl with two boys. It's like it changes dynamic to relation to each other, to relation to parents. It's really quite interesting the way family dynamics work. I'm intrigued. Gabby, you've been I know that there's something going on in that head of yours that you're wanting to say. I hope.
Yeah,
Now that I just called you out.
No, I'm totally with you, Erika. I'm not a big fan of labels, and we all saw the program Malcolm in the Middle, right? Where they play on that. But it's labels, and it's not that simple. Right, it doesn't matter because family dynamics are very complicated. It depends on the parents. How are the parents? How they were brought up? What are they bringing in from the past? Um, how old are they when they have the kids? Like Alex said, my mom was really young, right? So how old were they? Gender of the siblings. How far are there in between years are there in between when they were born, right? There's so many factors that when I hear, oh yeah, middle child always this, youngest always this, it's just not true. Doesn't mean that the middle child might not be, acknowledged. Maybe I'm sure some weren't, but it doesn't mean it's the same for everyone. So creating a day and pretending every middle child has the same upbringing and the same reaction and the same feelings in the first place, I find actually silly.
I know it's pretty wild the way we've blown this up to be such a thing that we're in turn now making the middle children. It's like telling someone, "Oh, you have this diagnosis. That means you can't do anything." So you're the middle child, so you must feel abandoned. So let's throw a day at you so you feel good. And as you were speaking, I'm getting intrigued about how, because it's the parents, right? We always go back to the parents and how they influence dynamic. And what were your parents? My parents were a combination of an only child and a youngest child. So what does that do to family dynamics? But I think I have a solution to this whole thing. And it's just parents should just ignore all their kids equally, and then nobody will feel left out. I mean, give me a break.
It's interesting that I think we can probably agree that there's archetypes in all of these things, that for some of these people this will hold true. But my mum was, I mean, what counts as the middle? Can you only have the middle child if there's three? Because she came from a generation where there was often 6 or 7 or 8, and like the eldest one was actually kind of left in charge of the youngest one because they'd reached, I don't know, 11, 12. There was a big age gap. So this is cultural, it's contextual, and the archetypes might hold true for a small number, whoever created this study and this work. But I'm with Gabby, and I would have laid money that Gabby was unhappy with the label, and I think it's true, and we certainly should not, bringing this to coaching and working with people as guides and mentors. This is not data that we can make definitive decisions from. And it might be coincidentally, youngest, yeah, that kind of makes sense about this thing, but it can't be more than a passing thought, is my suggestion.
All I hear, like in this conversation, it's ripe for victim triangle right here to say I'm middle child, so my oldest sibling was terrible to me, and that's why I can't make any decisions about what to do. You know what I mean? I don't know, something crazy like that, but it's ripe for that kind of mentality if we keep highlighting that there's a special day for a particular member of the family. Like, I don't know what that what I'm thinking is, are there actually families out there that celebrate this day? And how awkward is that? It's like, okay, we're going to go out and do everything that little Johnny wants to do today, and the rest of you can go, I don't give a shit what you do. I mean, like, what? How do you celebrate this day without hurting or making someone else now feel less than? It's crazy.
Erika, a little bit of a sidetrack here, but I think I think the labeling thing, I understand why I hate it so much. And I think it's the victim mindset that really gets attached to labels. I know that sounds simple, but I've just realized why I bloody hate labels.
It's the easiest way to remain victim, right? Because someone put a label on me or made it something that I feel like I now have to hook onto to give me reasons why I'm not doing X, Y, or Z, or why I react in a certain way.
I am aware of families where children all get gifts on one particular child's birthday so that they don't feel left out. And, this kind of applies to the conversation we're having. Do we celebrate the individual, in this case, the middle child, at the risk of making the others feel like on that day they're less important? It's a strange holiday. I know you mentioned who invented it. I would personally want to have a conversation with that person and say, just how needy were you feeling, you middle child person, on the day that you suggested that we have this holiday?
Wait, but Brett, I know, did you want to say something? Because there are some suggestions here about how you can actually celebrate this day, which are killing me. I have to read them.
This is great.
Ready? Make their favorite homemade dish and invite them over. That's number one. Or we can send a card and share a memory of them. Be sure the memory is of the middle child and not one of your other children, because they suck, apparently, on Middle Child Day. You can't celebrate anybody else. Invite your middle child for coffee. Call your middle child to find out about their day. It's my favorite part. This is especially important if you usually don't call. Take a walk with your middle child, throw a frisbee, or do one of their favorite activities, play a card or board game. If your middle child has a middle child, suggest all of you make a day of activities together. This is insane to me. So it's like if you have multiple kids, okay, little Billy and Susie, today is Johnny's day. You guys are left to your own devices. How in the world do we do this?
That day was called a birthday. When somebody had a day highlighted, right? And now we're, I don't know, double dipping. What are we doing here? Like, it's too much. It goes back to having nonstop something to do. Let's fill the time with something else. How else can we do this? Too much.
Brett, what are you talking about? You're the middle child. You should be cashing in on this.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all.
As I'm reading this, I'm mindful that Brett's a middle child, and I'm like, don't say something that he's going to come back and like expect you to do.
I was thinking,
You know what occurred to me, and Brett kind of hinted on it. I mean, if you have a day like this with suggestions like that, actually applies that the other 364 days of the year, you actually just go with a label and ignore the middle child. As a parent, right? So all the other siblings have one day where they're ignored, but the middle child, by default, is ignored 364 days a year. It completely makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, surely, if it's middle child day, surely you should be treating them like the middle child, and you should ignore them.
Exactly, which should be on the list of suggestions. Number one, it's middle child day, so do what you normally do and don't give a shit. I don't know. Like, that sounds like a good way to celebrate the day. I don't know. So we're going to go closing thoughts now on this topic. And I think my closing thought, I'm really glad I only have one kid, so I don't have to do this work, because seems like a lot of work and effort that really, if we're present, we can just acknowledge everybody who means something in our lives the way that we should be doing on a normal, everyday kind of basis.
My takeaway is, you know what? It doesn't matter where you are as a child. We all have something to moan about, because nobody will find their childhood perfect, or their parents perfect, or their siblings perfect. So we all have something to moan about. But you know what? By the time you're 25, leave your moaning in the past, become an adult, pull up your big girls' panties, get on with your life and take responsibility for it, and stop moaning. Because even the list you read out, Erika, applies that you still celebrate your poor middle child when they're like 50 with the special coffee, meet them for a coffee, right? So just get on with it. Take responsibility for your time and stop moaning. Whatever child you were, biggest one moaning, they had to take responsibility, little one, whatever, doesn't matter. Become an adult, mature, take responsibility.
Totally. Brett, Daniel, closing thoughts for you guys?
Yeah, this it's not my favorite national day. I don't know how much weight there is to the middle child day. I don't really have anything to add. Thank you.
I was going to say, we don't need anybody anyway. We're fine on our own.
And there it is in a nutshell. Awesome. All right, everybody. So I guess that's the end of today's episode. All of our details will be left in the comments or wherever Alec puts them. I don't know anything about the editing process, but we'll see you on our next episode. Thanks for joining. Bye.